Hey everyone out there in the land of YouTube, this is Annette Dion. I'm the host and founder of the Psychic News Network. Today is February 9th, 2022. It's Wednesday night. I hope you had a great day, and I hope that the week is going well for you. We are coming up on a full moon, not this week, but next week. Just looking at what's going on astrologically. The moon has been in the sign of Gemini all day. So this is a good couple days of doing business deals. Lots of good communication. Since we're still in Aquarius, the sun's in Aquarius, we are always expecting the unexpected. That's what Aquarius is all about. Shocking things. It's just seems like there's always shocking things. So I have a list, and let's get to the news. What shall we start with today? Shall we start with so many things to choose from. Trump, the document shredder. Shall we start there? You know, there was a time that I said that of all the 10 commandments, Trump is 10 out of 10. And now it's getting to the point of all the political crimes you can commit, gosh, you know, has he hit everyone? I think he might have hit everyone. Shredding documents. Apparently, the National Archives, department, it has suggested to the DOJ, as if they don't have enough to do, because they have a lot on their plate. But you know what the guides keep telling me, just speaking of the DOJ? I know everyone is so upset at Merrick Garland, and everyone is so assuming that Trump's just going to get away with I don't mean everyone, but, the sort of the collective in America is saying, just worrying that because we've been through like 5 years of trauma of him getting away with every single thing. I mean, as the so-called president of the United States of America, which according to the Mueller report was illegitimate too, we should look at whether we're going to meet the deadline of the statute of limitations on the Mueller report. But anyway, I'm kind of all over the place because there's so many crimes. I keep getting about Merrick Garland, that whole thing that people say that if you're going to take down the king, you better know what you're doing, and you better make sure it's a sure thing. If you're going to take aim at the king, well, he's not the king. He wishes he was the king. But there's a saying, you better make sure that you get it right. So that's what I keep getting about Merrick Garland. Along with that, he's been definitely stymied by Trumpsters in the DOJ. And I feel like they've kind of calmed down a little bit. I actually do feel that. So let's look at what's going to happen with these 15 boxes of stuff at Mar-a-Lago. He just took it. I mean, the reason this is taking so long, part of the reason, oh my gosh, my lights went out again. They must be on a timer. Hang on. My lighting's all weird. It keeps changing too. You notice I keep changing it. Anyway, just playing with some things. So he took these 15 boxes of stuff to Mar-a-Lago, just like, I don't know, he lives in a different universe where there are no laws for him. And that's a real thing. I'm not just saying that. He really lives in this consciousness of, there's no laws for me. There's no rules for me. Remember last year or the year before, all along we've been saying, nobody is above the law. Well, apparently he is. And it's a testament, I mean, up until the present time, it's a testament to, The Power of Positive Thinking, which was one of the books that his father read and drilled into his brain. So, when you have the power of positive thinking, by Norman Vincent Peale. I believe that was a book that he was really, really, really into, and his father, Fred, was really into, Fred Trump. Not only that, but Mein Kampf. That was one of the books, reportedly, that he was fond of, and he wasn't a big reader. I don't know, did he listen on Audible? We didn't have Audible back then. I mean, that wasn't a thing. But the power of positive thinking, and you know, it makes you wonder. I'm always telling people to affirm positive things, and that was a pretty big book. And I think that Fred, his dad, did workshops and followed Norman Vincent Peale. I think they might have been friends and all that. So my point is that he just went ahead and, I just remember the image of when they finally were leaving the White House. Some of the aides were walking out, and the military guy, the guard at the doorway was just doing this because that's what they do. As they walked out with a bust of Lincoln or something. It was comedic. And if you can take a step back once in a while at least, if it wasn't so serious, we'd be belly laughing. That's what comedy's for. That's what SNL is for. That's what the late shows are for. And I always recommend that. Anyway, to take in the news, from that perspective once in a while. Because we're here, life is about having fun. Life isn't about all this stress. And we can have fun while we're, making our voices be heard too, so. And I'm going to talk about Grassroots of Democracy in 1 second. So, grassrootsofdemocracy@gmail.com. And the subject line, right? AYE. That's how they vote in Congress. So anyway, we're looking at, and we do have fun. Our meetings are every Thursday on Zoom, 7 to 8 p.m. Eastern Time. And every single Thursday. So, you don't have to come to every single one. I'll be there at every single one. Obviously, I organize the thing. Trump shredding documents and just taking things to Mar-a-Lago, of which I heard that his love letters to Kim Jong-un, the ultimate murderer, dictator of the world. Putin comes in close second, then Xi in China. Anyway. Yes, I was just thinking about how fortunate we are, and we don't want to lose our rights to free speech. We can say what we want. I had a flash. I was just reflecting on what those countries are like. But Kim Jong-un was Trump's total hero. Writing love letters. He said it came right out of his mouth. We're in love. I wonder if they're going to send each other Valentines. I think that's an international holiday. I'm pretty sure. I wonder if they will. I wonder if they did. Why would he call them love letters? It's just so weird. Anyway, Three of Pentacles, the DOJ is building a case. It doesn't mean they're going to act on it. Maybe this is the National Archives Department getting its information together for a recommendation of investigation to get started. I do have a sense, the guides are giving me a sense, that will get rolling. At least the investigation into him shredding documents. I mean, it's just, I think what happened with Trump from a big, picture perspective is that we never collectively as a nation ever expected a president of the United States to be not unconscious of the law, that ignorant of the law, that brazen about the law, that criminal. I think that's really, when Nixon was criminal, but we never expected anyone to be as criminal as Donald Trump, and he's still inciting violence and still committing crimes. The King of Swords, King of Wands. Okay, the King of Wands would be indicative of the DOJ. It's not just Merrick Garland, but it signifies the DOJ. So I do think they're going to build a case against Trump for the brazenly obvious crime of shredding presidential documents, which are the property of the United States of America, not him. He never, ever, ever, ever treated that position as a position of service, ever. Ever. And that's the thing. I know there's many things that are mind-boggling about any American at all supporting this wannabe fascist. It's mind-boggling that people would want that. And we really do have to get busy with PR about that. That he never, ever, ever was in it for the American people, ever. I don't know where anybody would believe that. When you see Trumpsters being interviewed, you know, why do you want him to, you know, to run? Or why did you support him in the past? Why did you support him? Gosh, I don't think that they've ever come up with anything that he actually did for the American people. We might have to read a little further into that, but I have too many things on my list. Look, I even bought a new little notepad. There's a lot. No, I won't get to it all, and some of this is from the other day. 15 boxes of documents to Mar-a-Lago. What is he doing? Reading them in his free time? He doesn't read. But if he wrote them, maybe he does. Oh my goodness. So you know, the latest, which I hadn't brought up the other day, except I touched on it briefly, was that the RNC censured, which is basically, you know, taking their privileges away, Cheney and Kinzinger. And they're calling it, the RNC was literally, I mean, sometimes I think that they're just not thinking. I think there's a lot of not thinking things through going on in general. But what did they call it? They called it a legitimate political discourse. Those three words, legitimate political discourse. Did they not think this through? Because it's really amazing to me that they would put that as a reason to censure Adam Kinzinger and Liz Cheney. That's kind of like if there were people on the 9/11 committee and somebody was a terrorist and they said that's against the rules because it's legitimate political discourse. You know, it doesn't make any sense. It's like the RNC, the Republicans, are saying legitimate political discourse equals insurrection. Like, insurrection falls under the category violent insurrection in which people were, you know, died, and as we all know, you know, and executions were planned, and, you know, the hand ties and I mean, what could have happened that day? As we all know, I don't have to go on about it. What could have happened? It was just completely horrifying. We would right now be like all massively traumatized and under a fascist regime. So potentially, that was potentially what could have happened. Anyway, so there's no such thing as legitimate political discourse in that when you look at January 6th. I heard that Fox News is completely ignoring what's going on, which fascinates me. Okay, so what's going to happen as a result? Well, the other night, you might remember if you watch my videos, and I don't know, maybe you don't watch all of them, but anyway, thank you for watching. I said I was using the pendulum, and I was asking if any other politicians besides McConnell and Chris Christie and Mitt Romney were gonna protest this move by the RNC to censure Cheney and Kinzinger, and I got that basically they would be the only ones. So we did ask that question, but I do want to know what's going to happen to Kevin McCarthy. I'm not talking about legal things. I mean, what's going to happen with him, you know, kind of bouncing back and forth, like, I mean, I was looking at the guy on some news clip I think it was today, and I was just like, there's nobody in there. There's nobody home. He's such a hollow thing. Remember I called him a hollow ice cube? I know. I'm so terrible. I called Kevin McCarthy a hollow ice cube. What a terrible person I am. Is Kevin McCarthy going to fulfill his dream of being Speaker of the House? Boy, that was the fastest no I've seen in a long time. Okay. Is Kevin McCarthy going to be subpoenaed and show up to the January 6th committee? It's given me around, so I guess we don't know yet. Is Peter Navarro going to show up? Because he's been subpoenaed. Is Peter Navarro going to show up to the January 6th committee? Because he's been subpoenaed. It's looking like Peter Navarro will. Now keep in mind, these guys are showing up and just sitting there and pleading the fifth, which doesn't make sense to me because it's a committee and it's not a court of law. So I'm not really understanding how they can plead the fifth under those circumstances. Any lawyers out there? Maybe I'll email Glenn Kirshner, which I really should email Glenn Kirshner, and I just might. You know me. I mean, I don't know, like, I would totally do that. How great would that be to have Glenn Kirshner on one of our meetings? He would get the whole hour, one of our Zoom meetings for Grassroots of Democracy. Hey, I don't see why not. So what's going to happen to Kevin McCarthy? Oh, Kevin, how does it feel to be a jellyfish? I bet a jellyfish would be happier than you. Speaking of jellyfish, Giuliani jellyfish just popped into my mind. But Giuliani's more like a snake. Poor guy, he's so lost. I mean, honestly, I just have to say, these people are lost souls. I mean, they know that they want to do nefarious things, and they're greedy beyond what the average human would ever know. Okay, this is Kevin McCarthy. This is the fate of Kevin McCarthy. He's going to have so much crime evidence coming at him. I did say a long time ago that I saw that they have, and we don't know yet, but this is months ago. I saw my mind's eye. I saw a video of Kevin McCarthy leading the insurrectionists on I think a tour or something. Anyway, they have a lot of evidence against him. This is showing up very frequently as all the overflowing evidence that the January 6th committee has. All the evidence is there. When the rubber hits the road, we're going to have to really be praying hard and working hard towards these dangerous authoritarian wannabes, enemies of democracy. Really, when it all comes down, the true test will be, are we going to let them? Because the evidence is all there. The King of Swords. This is, let me ask, because I'm a little confused about who the King of Swords is. Is the King of Swords representing the January 6th committee? Yeah. It actually, it is. It's how much communication they have. Is it representing somebody in particular? Like, it kind of seems like Adam Schiff to me. Yeah, it's Adam Schiff. Something's telling me Adam Schiff has this in the bag. And also, Jamie Raskin, who, God, that man is a saint. That man is a strong. Jamie Raskin, I don't care if you're Democrat, Republican, whatever the heck you are. If you're a human and you look at what Jamie Raskin has been through and he's still standing, it will boggle your brain. And I know, I missed that. Boy, time is flying. There was a special about Jamie Raskin. I think it aired February 6th, but you can always find these things. I'll look on YouTube about, the Constitution and what they went through on January 6th and how he had buried his beloved son days earlier who had taken his own life. I mean, and they were close. So I feel like that card, the King of Swords, represented Adam Schiff, but also I feel Jamie Raskin's energy in there too. And let us not forget, Benny Thompson. There's an incredible committee of people on the January 6th committee. So send them lots of light and lots of love and lots of empowerment and lots of protection. Because they're doing the right thing, because we cannot allow this ever to happen again. Now, the whole thing with the archives and Trump, shredding his documents and all that, that's one other example. I mean, my guides are so generous when they gave me the reason for Donald Trump as being because we would be forced to strengthen our democracy because there's so many really scary holes in the system. I did hear too, just as kind of a side note, and I didn't see the whole story, that there's a billionaire that is going to throw in all kinds of money. I think he's from Silicon Valley. I was at my icky slimy news threshold, so I couldn't listen to the story of him. But he's going to be pouring billions of dollars into Trump's policies. I don't know what that even means, because what policies did he have except rule all and bully people? Anyway, since I'm on that topic, I don't know the billionaire's name because I didn't hear the whole story. I just heard that snippet. And my first thought was well, Democrats have money too. Bloomberg has money, remember? Do you remember way back? Michael Bloomberg was running for president? I know. You have to be on high speed to keep up with this stuff. So we're going to look at that. We're going to look at who this, this billionaire guy dude, if it's going to have an effect, a boosting effect on the Republican Party, that he's going to pour all this money into the system. I don't know, probably misleading ads like Russia does and social media stuff where they hide their hypnotizing mechanisms and make people believe. I mean, that's a real thing. I shouldn't joke about it. I feel like people that love America will rally. I really do. Because you know what? The Republicans are sinking themselves by saying that a violent coup of a mob, murderous mob, is legitimate political discourse. I really think they derailed themselves with that. I do. I'm not just saying that. The Democrats will come back with money too. We need to get big corporation money out of politics. Can we just say it's time to end Citizens United? How long have we been saying that? The Six of Wands. Yeah, the Democrats will be lining up the resources too. Don't be fooled. Think about how many Democrats are in Hollywood. That's a lot of money. That's a lot of cash. Okie dokie schmoky. Let's go to the next item on the list. Okay, so David Pakman on the David Pakman Show. There, I plugged two people on YouTube. Glenn Kirshner, Justice Matters. David Pakman, P-A-K-M-A-N, who's a political video guy, YouTube guy from the Boston area, just like me. There's lots of us like these types up here. We're all one. We're all one. We're all one. So David Pakman showed a clip of Marjorie Taylor Greene on the House floor. I don't know what kind of a meeting it was or what was going on there, but it was like cringeworthy and embarrassing to watch Marjorie Taylor Greene totally out of breath. As if she was on a school committee meeting. You have to look this up. It's pretty incredible. As if she was, at a school committee meeting. Just, the reason it's embarrassing and cringeworthy is like you're embarrassed for her that she's in this dignified, the Capitol, in this really privileged, position of being able to speak up and speak out for her constituents. And she's completely out of breath. And she's kind of hyperventilating, and she's talking about, at first I thought maybe she has COVID, because I don't think she wears a mask. So she's like advocating for the kids that don't like to wear masks. And she's just going on about it, and she's out of breath, and it's like, what's going on here? And then I thought that she's been hanging out with her buddy Matt Gaetz. And I'm not being accusatory, and I'm not attacking or, making a commentary on people who do drugs. I'm just saying that I was thinking that maybe she was on something. Because Matt Gaetz is into that stuff. Was Marjorie Taylor Greene on something that was kind of speedy? Uh-huh. And I have the sense that it caught her off guard. Like maybe I'm just throwing this out there just because of my sense. And you might feel that too. Like, did she sniff something before she went on? I didn't mean to ask the pendulum that. I was just kind of throwing it out there. And the pendulum's like, yes. She sniffed something before she went on that little tangent rant. And she seemed out of control. You know when somebody has wicked bad stage fright and they just kind of lose it? Wow. The light is getting stronger and the dark is being exposed to the max. Where we come in is what we're going to do about it. Because right now, there's no denying the darkness. It's right in our faces. It's right in our faces. And, if you know that we are all connected and we all have a responsibility, those of us who can have to stand up to darkness. Because people like Marjorie Taylor Greene need to not be in a position of leadership. I thought she needed to be checked in more ways than one, really. Like, it's not on my list, but while we're on the topic of Matt Gaetz and Marjorie, let's take a look at Matt Gaetz. What's going to happen for Matt? The other day, seriously, you know how they call Mitch McConnell the turtle? I know it's mean. But by the same token, some of these people resemble, I don't know, an animal from the animal kingdom. So I don't know if I can go there, but there are some that I just feel like look like, like Bill Barr. I'm not going to say it. I'm not going to insult the animal kingdom like that. I don't mean to be mean. I'm not being mean because I'm not saying it. I'm just thinking that they resemble certain animals. Like, the classic Mitch McConnell looks like a turtle. Speaking of Mitch McConnell might be the ultimate truth teller in a sense, relative to the other Republicans that are denying January 6th. Well, they're not denying January 6th ever happened. That's switched because actually what they're doing now is they're saying it was a good thing, which is what Trump is saying. We're looking at Matt Gaetz. It's the females that are going to, their stories of what happened with Matt Gaetz hold water, 100%, 100%. And it's being lined up, and this is a prosecutor. Matt Gaetz is in trouble. I just feel like that's cut and dried with Matt Gaetz. He's in trouble. Okay. Is he going to face prison? Is Matt Gaetz going to face prison? It looks like yes. I've been getting yes on that all along. Okie dokie, schmokey. Let's see what's next on my list. Stay with me. I'm going to make it as short as I can, but it might be longer. Speaking of long videos, Corey and me tomorrow, I'm going to talk him into keeping it at an hour, but we'll see what happens, because I do have work, Corey's awesome. Support Bridge Cape Ann. Corey just finished up a documentary about on Bridge Cape Ann about our hometown in the blizzard of 1978, which is really an amazing piece of documentary. It'll boggle your brain how much snow fell here in the Boston area in 1978, and it was quite tragic too. Thank goodness for modern weather forecasting, because nowadays that wouldn't happen because people would know. But nowadays we need the weather to be forecast the way that it is with all the global warming catastrophes. So anyway, check out Bridge Cape Ann, Blizzard of 78. This is a short documentary, and Corey and I will be recording tomorrow during the day, and then that show will be at night, probably 8, probably 8 o'clock. After the Grassroots of Democracy meeting, it'll air. And the chat is live, but as obviously the video is pre-recorded. Next, gosh, I better move it along here. What do we have here? DeSantis won't answer the question, was Pence right? Oh yeah, man, there's so much going on with DeSantis. I gotta tell you all that I have been kind of disturbed by, when I think about the state of Florida and I think about the state of Texas, I put DeSantis and Abbott in the same category, and really, really bad vibes. Not from the people in Florida, that's not what I mean. From Abbott and from DeSantis. They're really gonna put those states, Florida and Texas, through the ringer. It's not pleasant. It's not pleasant to look at. So DeSantis was asked about something about the January 6th, the RNC. No, they were asking DeSantis about if he agreed with did he think Pence did the right thing when he stood up at that convention in front of all those Republicans and said President Trump was wrong. So they asked DeSantis if they agreed with Mike Pence. I'll be darned. He wouldn't answer the question. How long are we going to put up with this? That's why I started the organization. How long are we going to put up with this? We're not going to put up with it, because it's very unhealthy to just take this lying down. What am I reading about? DeSantis. I don't know, just DeSantis. I get blabbering, I forget what I'm asking. DeSantis. Not only do I see a woman winning over DeSantis in Florida in the next election, but I actually see men going after DeSantis. Is this the law? I see these men. One is a King of Cups and one is the Nine of Wands. Boy, the Nine of Wands is pointing to evidence of illicit activity on DeSantis' part. And the Nine of Wands and this deck, the Cosmic Tarot, the lion is behind bars. He thinks he's strong, but he's behind bars. So that's being reined in. And the King of Cups, there's, I'm almost thinking this represents Joe Biden, who's a water sign. Joe Biden is a Scorpio, so I see some kind of an influence. Oh, and I think Merrick Garland is a Scorpio too, I'm pretty sure. That's some intense energy. DeSantis has it coming to him. And the Constitution is coming up. This is about the Constitution. I just got it. This is about the United States Constitution. And DeSantis is going to be held, his feet are going to be held to the fire for doing things that are just anti-Constitution. Like burning books and telling kids that they can't say the word gay. And, actually saying to people, you can't talk about that. There's an ad running that I just saw a little while ago. And it's somebody, check this out. I haven't checked it out yet. thefire.org. And this guy who's Turkish, is talking about Turkey. And is talking about that he spoke out against something. I don't know what it was. And the Turkish government arrested him and made his father pretty much disown him in a public statement. And I don't know how he escaped to come to this country, but countries that don't have human rights as a rule, as the order of the day, that don't have human rights are pretty abundant. We are really at the precipice. We have really got to do something. When Ron DeSantis is having books banned, and we go, you know, we're so like innocent in America, and I'm not saying like we're, you know, I'm not calling anybody stupid or anything. I'm pointing out the fact that we just don't know. I want to just say, on September 11th, 2001, we were going about our regular daily business and thinking, oh yeah, we're fine, everything's fine, because everything was fine until it wasn't. Until it wasn't. So Ron DeSantis doing this stuff, even though I do see him being called out, this is not unheard of. This isn't as outlandish as people in America might feel. It's just unfamiliar. So everyone, take a moment and imagine how it would be if, like, I couldn't be here on YouTube. There's no way. And all your favorite psychics on YouTube, we could be jailed. I'm just saying. So when I look at Florida and I look at Texas, I see really bad energy coming from those governors, worse than it is now. Are they going to pay consequences? I'm asking about both of them together. Are they going to pay consequences for their unconstitutional, fascist tactics? The pendulum is saying yes, but I think it's going to be a matter of the people standing up. The thing that boggles my mind is, there's a lot of things that boggle my mind, obviously, I always say that. DeSantis is in a state that's got, you know, probably 40% Latinos and African Americans, right? Am I right? The black population is pretty, and especially the Latino population, is a pretty big segment of the population. So I'm thinking that he's feeling sickly confident enough that he can repress the vote, that he will force his way into being governor. This is what's going on in his mind. He'll force his way into being the governor of Florida again, because that's what dictators do. And that's his plan. Because he knows he couldn't win a legitimate vote doing all these heinous things against his constituents. And for him to call Florida the free state while he's taking away all the freedoms, can you say hypocrisy? Everybody pay attention, okay? Let us all pay attention. I do see the unconstitutionality of what he's doing. Having, you know, not that we can count on the Supreme Court, but I do see him being called out by the DOJ. Maybe when they're not so busy, which is going to be a long time coming. Is it going to come in a timely manner? That his unconstitutional dictates are called out by the DOJ. It's going to be in a timely manner, I'm getting. Is it just that the news will have a big impact? No, it's not just the news. It's the DOJ. I hope Merrick Garland has a huge, ginormous staff, you know, and if you are in college or you're going to college or you know someone that's going to college, tell them to study law. I know, it's expensive. Well, they can charge a lot to be lawyers. Which is taking me to another question. I've been telling people, actually, when people get readings and they're all freaked out about student loans, this has been a recent development, fairly recent development, to not stress about it too much, because I feel like there's going to be a lot of student loan forgiveness. I've been saying that for a while now. Don't stress, just do what you can. You can't squeeze water from a stone, so if you can't pay the whole thing, just pay part of it. Keep your credit intact. So I'm going to look at Abbott. What's his status right now? What's Abbott's status right now? Because since we're on the topic of DeSantis and we see the law coming down on him at some point, what's going to happen with Abbott? Now, you know how much I've been warning Texas people to rally about, you know, the cold and the power grid. It's okay. So today's February 9th. By the end of February, Texas should be out of the woods on the threat of a cold front that's going to take down the power grid. They should be out of the woods. Texas should be by the end of February, but in this crazy weather, you never know. Like if it snowed in July with this global change thing going on, I wouldn't be surprised. Would you? Didn't it snow in Hawaii? Anyway. Oh my goodness. Is Texas gonna make it through the winter without a massive, I mean, I heard a lot of people did lose power. Is Texas gonna make it through without losing power to a winter storm? Is it gonna make it through without losing power to a major winter storm? The answer is no. That's a pretty clear no. I mean, with the pendulum, it's like there's sometimes it's like it feels really a lot of energy yes and a lot of energy no, and sometimes it's a little weaker. I am going to do a class on using the pendulum. I'll let you know, because I know some people are interested in that, and I surely would love to have you all for a class. It'd be really fun on Zoom. So let's look at Governor Abbott. The abortion ban is still in place. The book banning, the shaming, the, you know, DeSantis has got this don't say gay thing, and Abbott, I really just put them in the same, they're two peas in a pod. Abbott. I didn't mean to talk about these guys tonight. I really didn't. It's only so, you know, there's a slime limit. There's a slime limit for the psychic. Let's just take a look. This is a turn for the better for Texas. Yay! Prince of Wands, Beto getting the message out. That, you know what? If there is, God forbid, honestly, but you know, we don't have control over these things. If there is a massive power outage because the grid goes down because of another winter storm in Texas, Beto's really, he's really going to step it up. Let's hope it doesn't happen. Let's hope the winter storm doesn't come to Texas. And the Queen of Cups, there's a female. I feel like this actually has to do with Beto, and this, even though Stacey Abrams is Georgia, I feel like those two are doing some big stuff in terms of saving our democracy, and they have a similar message, I think. So I do feel like, you know, the guides are showing me the Republicans that are being so anti-America, and let's just call it what it is. They're against America. The Republicans that are being that way, the guides are showing me that they're slipping down a slippery slope. It is a slippery slope. And not only us with Grassroots of Democracy, there are a lot of groups rising up. In fact, I just saw another one called the Congressional Black Caucus. I wanted to talk about the Postal Service tonight, but it's too complicated at the moment because just in a nutshell, I know I'm all over the place with there's so much going on, as usual. DeJoy at the meeting that I attended that was open to the public yesterday morning for the U.S. Postal Service Board of Governors, DeJoy claimed he was going to purchase 5,000 electric vehicles for the post office, and then on the news tonight I heard that he bought a fleet of gas-guzzling mail trucks. So not sure what's going on with that. But I just saw the Congressional Black Caucus is really getting into action with, you know, making sure that we kind of hold DeJoy accountable for some things, and also to work on voting rights. It's a lot to keep up with, so just pick your little area to work on and take it from there. So thefire.org, check it out. We're going to talk about that in the future. Two more things. Let's look at Ted Cruz Yeah, we're doing a deep dive into the slime. Ted Cruz. Who... First, he says in some committee meeting, Ted Cruz, speaking of Texas, January 6th was a violent insurrection of domestic terrorism, whatever he said, right? Then he goes on Tucker Carlson. Oh, I misspoke. I really was stupid. I shouldn't have said that. And then he says, I think he said it again, that he was referring to it as a violent insurrection. And then he flipped it again. So what did he say? I wrote it down. He said, Ted Cruz called January 6th, the insurrection, he called it politically charged propaganda. Can we just give it a rest? One thing is for sure. We cannot deny what they're doing. The cat is out of the bag. I don't know where that dumb... If you're a cat lover, I shouldn't say that. I don't even know where that came from. They have egg on their face. Plain and simple. The Republicans are anti-democracy. The Republicans are anti-America. The Republicans are pushing a fascist agenda. We're here to rise up. We are rising up. When enough of us rise up, we're going to win. And if you think your neighbor is doing the work to help us to win, there's a pretty much like a 95% chance you're wrong, that your neighbor is helping us to win our democracy back. I'm just saying that because from my experience, a lot of people, and it's, of course it's normal, a lot of people go around, they're really, really, really busy, and they hope it gets taken care of. I bet you if you ask your neighbor or family members, what are you doing to save our democracy? Like Elijah Cummings said, what are you doing to, when you're dancing with the angels and they ask you, what did you do to help save democracy? What will you say? So, oh my gosh, I'm going on almost an hour here. So it's really, really important that we understand that other people are 95% likely to not be doing the work to save our democracy. And that's not going to cut it. We will win. We are on a track to win. But it will only be because we all jump in the ring, even if it's that you get somebody to register to vote. We're doing everything we can. I want all of us to stay motivated and inspired. I'm going to pick 3 more cards just to tie us over till, and I didn't even look at Russia and Ukraine, but you know what? I just want to tell you, I keep getting the same thing about Russia and Ukraine. And if you ask me, Vladimir Putin, all right, I'll pick 2 cards. If you ask me, Vladimir Putin really is, if he invades Ukraine, it will be the end of him. I almost said the death of him. If he invades Ukraine, I mean, when you think about it, like tens of thousands, at least of innocent people will just be murdered. So we gotta pray. If he invades Ukraine, it's the end of him. That's what I get clearly. I actually keep thinking Macron got to him in some way. I'm not sure what it was, but yeah. This is NATO winning. This is the negotiations. I wouldn't really call them negotiations. I would call them more like, are you sure you want to do this? Reality checks with the world leaders, European leaders that Putin has been meeting with. Did you see? I saw a picture of him and Macron on this. You probably saw it in this. Talk about social distancing. It was like the most ginormous table I've ever seen in my life. It like filled a huge room. This long oval table. It's almost like the thought of what he could keep intact if he doesn't invade Ukraine might get to be more appealing for Vladimir Putin. That's interesting. 3 more cards and I'll let you go. Let me go. It's getting late. Okay, let's see. 3 cards for the collective for the next couple days. I'll be back on Friday, I think. Pretty sure. Friday. I'll do my best. Oh, gosh. There's going to be a lot of disruption over the next 2 days. Oh, dear. That doesn't mean to be a bad thing. The 10 of Swords, we're going to hear, the Republicans are going to come out swinging about something. I can't leave you all hanging. I have to look into this a little bit more because I'm asking about the cards for the next couple days, and I have the Tower and Screaming Anger. But the Princess of Wands. Slow and steady wins the race. That's what the guides just said. Interpret that how you will. Is the Tower card, I'm just going to ask, is the Tower card referring to Russia? Nope. Is the Tower card over the next couple of days referring to the United States? Yes. Is the Tower card referring to bombshell revelations that the Republicans will be angry about? Yes. Stay tuned. Watch the space, watch the news, and we will know. Okay. Thank you for joining me for this long video. It's time to go home and eat my late dinner. And we will see you in a couple days. And AnnetteDionPsychic@gmail.com is where you send an email for a reading. I have a waiting list. Please be patient. And I appreciate all you who are patient, because patience is a virtue. Underrated, if you ask me, in general. Grassrootsofdemocracy@gmail.com. Type AYE in the subject line and you'll automatically be on our email list. Please be sure and check your promotions folder or your spam. And our meeting is tomorrow night, Thursday, 7 to 8 Eastern Time. That's all I have for you right now, and that's plenty. So, namaste. Keep the faith. Keep your chin up. We're winning. Bye.